Hello everyone. This is Professor Roger Flores, Professor of the Department of Electrical Engineering of the College of Engineering Central Mindanao University, Muswan Bukidnon. Your Professor of the subject ES 52, Engineering Management. Uh, this day, let us discuss Chapter 3 of our subject, Planning Technical Activities. So to start with, planning technical activities for chapter 3. We have here the first subtopic, the nature of planning. Here we will going to discuss what are some of the nature of planning. What you are going to do in planning. Okay, or especially if you are going to plan technical activities. No. Okay, so first, what is a plan? Okay, so as we know, it is the output of planning that provides a methodical way of achieving the desired results. So when we say methodical way, it is a systematic procedures of doing whatever technical or whatever desired technical results, okay, of what we are going to plan or whatever activities that we are going to plan. Okay, so this is planning also is or being done to minimize mistakes in decision making. Um, planning should be undertaken or shall be undertaken. Okay, so that is why maybe some of our activities will result to have some failures, or not all the objectives might not be attained because there will be some failure of doing this activity. It might because of poor planning, no? So, and it is said here that without the plan, some minor tasks may be afforded and maybe major attention, which may later on hinder the accomplishment of the activities or the accomplishment of the subject, the objectives. Okay. So, what is now planning all about? What is planning, or the definition of the planning? So, planning is defined in various ways according to authors, no? So, according to Nichols and others, the planning is a management function that involves anticipating future trends and determining the best strategies and tactics to achieve objectives. Okay, so there is a very important word that we are going to consider here, no? Where we have some important word that you are going to consider. So, word that okay, so word like strategies, no? So in planning, what are some of the strategies that we are going to do so that the objective of this activity will be achieved? Or tactics. Later on, we will define what is the difference between strategies and tactics, no? So this is as according to Nichols that planning is the management function that involves anticipating future trends. Okay, so when we are doing planning, it is not for today, it is not for yesterday, but of course for the future trends. So that is the essence why you are going to do planning. Okay, according to another author, Aldag and Stearns, no? So according to them, it is also the selection and sequential ordering of tasks required to achieve, of course, our organizational goal. So this we have another terms that is very important introduced to us according to planning. according to the definition of planning, according to Aldag and Stearns, selection and sequential ordering. Meaning to say that planning is selecting strategies, selecting procedures, and we are going to sequence all these procedures and strategies so that we will be able to attend our planned activities. So there is what we call as a very important term here, selection, and at the same time, or selection of the activities, or selection of the system methods on procedures. Then we are going to do some sequential ordering so that first come first serve, or first important thing to do will be first thing to do. Okay, so that is another definition of planning, and it is according to Aldag and Stearns. Next is planning according to Cool and Hamilton. Okay, so according to Cool and Hamilton, it is deciding what will be done, where, when, and how. Okay, so that is those are another terms that we were going to consider when it comes to planning an activity. Deciding what, or what will be done. Okay, so what activity that we're going to do, so that we are going to plan about this activity. Then where, this is talking about the venue or the sites or whatsoever. It refers to places that you're going to perform, conduct, or implement our planned activities. Then another question is when. So this refers to the date, the time, to perform, to start, and of course the target to finish this activity. And another word is the word how. How you're going to do this, how you're going to perform this, how you're going to implement this. Okay, so that sometimes we call this one as 5 Ws, 4 Ws, and 1 H. We have what, where, when. Okay, so those are the things, or and how, no? So these are the things that you're going to plan, so that of course we will be able to attend the objectives of this activity. Okay, another, according to Colin Hamilton, another thing that we're going to consider also here is the standards. Okay, this is an additional, the standards to which it will be done. So of course we have to set standards so that we'll be able later to evaluate. Okay, what happened to our activity? Is it satisfactory? It is excellent, or it is, have we done everything according to planned, or according to what we have planned? So we should have to set standards. Uh, Next, we have this planning at various management levels. Okay, in the previous chapters, we discussed all about different management levels. We have the level 1, level 2, level 3, in which this level, for example, level 3 or level 1, for example, a few activities for an engineering or an engineering activity. Okay, for level 2, there is a medium activity for engineers, and level 3, of course, this is an engineering activity. So these are some of the levels, no, or different types of organization. Okay, so this time we have to conduct or do our planning according to management levels, and according to we have this different level of management. Okay, of course, management levels. No, we have the top management level. And in top management level, since they are the people that belongs to the upper echelon, then you have to plan what plan that you are going to do is, they call this one as strategic planning. Okay, so later on we will go deeper. What are this strategic planning all about, or what is this strategic planning all about? Then we have another label, management level. We call this one as middle management level. Okay, so for the middle management level, they will be doing this what we call as intermediate planning. Okay, so when we say intermediate planning, of course, this is online with the output of strategic planning done by the upper echelon or the top management level. So after the top management level have their planning, then cascade this to the lower level, which is the next level, which is the middle management level, and these people who belong to this middle management level will will do planning, but of course in line with the strategic plan produced by the top management, and they call this one as intermediate planning. Okay, so the third level is of course the lower management level, and this is what we call as the plan that you are going to do. This is all about operational planning. Why? Because this lower management level are the people that are the frontliners. They are the supervisors. They call this one as line supervisors, the production managers, and so on. So these are the people that implements the activity, and they are the frontliners, and they are the people that lead, manage the different group of people to produce their products or the product of the organization. Okay, so just to review, or just to recap, we have the top management level will do strategic planning. The middle management level, they will be doing intermediate planning, and the lower management level will be doing operational planning. This is called operational, of course, because this group are those who will perform the production, for example, the operation of their their respective this respective department or respective group or activity. Okay, so this is the illustration of the different levels that we discussed a while ago. So we have the management level. The other side is the planning horizon. Okay, so the top level of this illustration here is we have the top level is of course the top management level that people who belong this is just an example, it depends upon the organizational structure of your organization, but something like the people who are the chief executive officers. Okay, these are the people who belong to the top management level. The vice presidents, or we will say general manager, or we will say the division heads. So these people belongs to the top management level. And the middle is the functional managers, product line managers, or the department heads. And the people of the lowest level is what we call that the unit managers, the first line supervisors, and the rest of the uh, people who have their management authority. Okay, as we define for the management level, you have the top management, the middle management, and the lower management levels. For the planning horizon, as we mentioned, okay, we have this strategic planning for the top management. This strategic planning are those activities which will be done within 1 to 10 years. Okay, so that is the important period that you are going to consider when we are going to have our uh, strategic planning. Activities for the whole organization, the whole company for 1 to 10 years. Okay, so for the middle management level, these are the activities that you are going to plan, which might be implemented within 6 months to 2 years. Okay, 6 months to 2 years. So, middle management people will try to plan for these activities that will be implemented within a period of 6 months to 2 years. And the operational planning for the lower management level are those activities that can be done maybe in 1 week time up to 1 year. Okay, in 1 week time or 1 year. So that is why it is called operational planning. Okay, so let's discuss this one by one. Okay, so we have this strategic planning. Okay, so this strategic planning refers to the process of determining the major goals of the organization and the policies and strategies for obtaining and using resources to those or to achieve those goals or those objectives. Okay, so we have this definition of strategic planning. What are the things that you're going to prepare, or what are the things that you're going to do? Of course, you have to think of the major goals of the organization, and you have to think of the policies that we are going to policies and strategies, so that will be this plan will be obtained, no, and not only strategies and policies that we are going to plan, but also we are going to think of the resources that you're going to use. Okay, so, of course, the output of this strategic planning is the strategic plan, which spells out the decision. Okay, so which spells out the decision about long-range goals and the course of action to achieve these goals. Now, when we say long-range goals, that is why this strategic planning shall be or can be done within years and up to 10 years. Okay? So, what are the parts of the strategic planning? Okay, so we have number one, company or corporate mission. So, of course, when you're going to do, if you're going to plan this strategic planning, we must have to start with company mission. Your mission, your goals, your objectives will be your guiding star um, to achieve this strategic plan. Then another, as we said, aside from objectives or goals, of course, the mission, the objectives, the goals, and we have also another part of strategic planning is the strategy to achieve this plan. Okay, so next is, okay class, next is the intermediate planning. Okay, so intermediate planning is the activity of the middle management level, people that belongs to the middle management level. So intermediate planning is or this is a period of 6 months to two years, no? So this refers to the process of determining the contributions that subunits can make with allocated resources. Meaning to say that these people who belong to the middle management will think of achieving the goals of the organization with which will be done by the subunits, subdepartments, subgroups of people, then with a given allocated resources. Of course, we cannot attend whatever activities that we might plan without budgets or any other resources that we have, the human resources and other logistics. No? So the goals of a subunit are determined, and plan is are determined, and a plan is prepared to provide guide to the realization of the goals. Okay, to give goals of the that subunit, subdepartment, subgroups. Okay, so we are going to determine the goals of that, no, of this group to achieve this plan. Okay, so the realization of the planned activities. It is designed to support the strategic planning. Of course, that is what I have said a while ago, that this intermediate planning will be done, but of course, it should be online with the strategic plan done by the upper echelon, or we call this one as the top management level. And the last one is about the operational planning. So, as we said, operational planning will be done by the lower management level, and it might be implemented within 1 week or up to 1 year, no, activity. So, this is for operational planning. Okay, so what is this operational planning means? This refers to the process of determining how a specific task can best be accomplished on time with available resources. Okay, so that is, of course, this is very understood, no? Or understandable. The process of determining how a specific task, okay, whatever the task of the department, whatever the task of this group or a subunit, specific activity to accomplish, no? How we are going to accomplish these things. Okay, with the given available resources provided or other logistics provided by the company. Okay, so it must be performed in support, of course, to the strategic plan of the top management level and to the intermediate plan by the middle management level. So meaning to say that the people that will plan, will do operational planning will always refer their plan from the strategic plan done by the top management to the middle management level, or the intermediate plan done by the middle management level, so that all these things will be online to each other. Okay, attaining the objective per level of management. Okay, so let's proceed to the planning process. Okay, so let's discuss the planning process. No, generally planning involves the following. Number one, we have to do setting organizational, divisional, or unit goals. So this is the first thing that you're going to do in planning. So even though you will plan strategic, or you will plan intermediate, or you will plan operational, first thing that you're going to do, you must have to set organizational or group or unit or divisional goals. So that is the most important, that you're going to plan for what goals that we will be attained. Okay, so it is defined here that goals is the precise statement of results sought, quantified in time and magnitude where possible. Okay, statement of results sought. So, what is the expected output? What is the output? What is the target of our activity? So it should be quantified in time and magnitude. Okay, so we will not plan that time, there is an absence of time. So, for example, if we plan to do this activity, okay, when to start, okay, when to implement, and when will be our target time to achieve or to finish this activity, so on. And then we have the magnitude, meaning the strength, the target, the quality, the quantity of whatever activities that we will plan. No? So another thing is that another process is, or another step is developing strategies or tactics. Okay, so this is the next thing that you're going to do. Try to develop, try to think of strategies, try to think of the tactics to achieve these goals. No? So this is the next thing that you're going to do. Okay, so this is what I have said a while ago, that we are going to differentiate what is the strategy. So, what is strategy? What is tactics all about? So, let us start discussing first what is a strategy. Strategy is a course of actions aimed at ensuring that the organization will achieve its objectives. Think of a course of action, a, a series of action to ensure the achievement of the objectives or the planned objectives. Okay, and tactics is a short term. This is not a bigger picture. It is not a bigger solution. Tactics is a short term action. Okay. Okay, so tactics is a short term action taken by management, no? Just a short term action to adjust to negative internal or external influences, no? So it might be we have to plan. For example, okay, we should have to think of plan B, plan C, if this might not be achieved, or it might be there might be some negative influence from the organization. So what you are going to do if okay, think of tactics that you're going to do if there is what we call as failures due to within the organization, or there is a failure uh, because of the external influences. When we say external, that is beyond our organization, like government, like environment, like all these are, or like what we call this one, accidents or whatever, typhoons or any problems which beyond our capacity being an organization. So think of all this solution, and that is why we have this what we call as plan A, plan B, plan C. No, if you might encounter this kind of problems in implementing our activity. Okay, so that is strategy and tactics. Next, um, um, next process or step is determining resources needed. Of course, I mentioned a while ago that we cannot implement, we cannot proceed to any activity, planned activities without resources. So this is the next thing that you're going to do. So even though you belong, as I've said, even though you belong the top management, middle management, lower management level, but in planning, we should have to think of the resources needed to implement our planned activities. Resources that refers to human resources. Okay. So laborers, employees, how many uh, no? How many laborers, how many employees, how many staff that they're going to uh, to hire to implement this activity that we have. And then of course other things other than human is of course the non-human. Like for example logistics, supplies, materials, equipments, facilities and others, no? So try to think of these resources needed. After determining resources, either human or non-human resources, think of or plan of setting standards. As we said, as we defined a while ago, that we must have to set standards so that we will be able to evaluate later on if we were able to attend or if we will be able to achieve the goals. No, so we have this setting of standards. So standards for measuring performance may be set at the planning stage. Of course, setting standard will not be done during the implementation, or the worst thing is after the implementation. It should be done. Setting of the standard should be done during the planning process. Okay, so when actual performance does not match with planned performance, corrections on the okay, when actual performance does not match with the plan, when actual performance does not match with planned performance, corrections or reinforcements should be given. Okay, so of course, so that we will not jeopardize the quality based on the standards that we set. Then if we were not able to attend in the actual performances of the activity, if you cannot attend the set standards, then we have to correct it. And aside from correcting or determining what are some the factors that affects the performance, the poor performance, for example, then you have to correct it, and then or you have to implement reinforcement or reinforce it. Okay, so for example, we found out that okay, there is some problem with the implementation because there is a lacking of these materials. Of course, reinforce reinforce this material, no? So there should be what we call as correction and reinforcement of the given activity. Okay, so we have these different types of plans. So we have the plans, the classification of plans, no? So first we have this functional area plan. So like for example, marketing plan that belongs to the functional area plan. It is called functional area plan because marketing is one of the function or a functional activity or group, okay, of personnel, which is very important, no? Uh, it's very hard to say that our company is doing good, performing good, if we are lacking, there is a problem in marketing. Well, because that marketing is of course selling our output. So whatever the product that we have, we are going to sell it, and then that is we can say, and we can maybe say later that okay, we are performing well because we have a good market of our product. So what are this marketing plan? What are the parts of this marketing plan? Of course, the executive summary, the people, the top management, the organizational structure. So we have this what we call as executive summary. Then of course you have the table of contents. This is some part of the marketing plan. No? Situational analysis and target market. Okay, so situational analysis. So for example, we have our target market. This is the people. This is the community, which is the target of our product, the target market of our product. So perform situational analysis. Okay, so perform situational analysis. No, so whether our marketing strategy maybe or our product is viable in that certain planned community or possible customers or clients, no? So next part of marketing plan is marketing objectives and goals. Okay, so about the next is marketing strategies. Take note that maybe if you are the first one to do this marketing, to do or uh, present this product to the market, if you are the first person or the first company that introduce this uh, subject or this output, marketing strategy should be also planned. Why? Because today you are the first one, maybe tomorrow people you are uh, several people will do the same thing what you have done yesterday. Okay, so marketing strategies, marketing tactics, okay, schedules and budgets, amounts, capitals that you're going to use, schedule of when to start, when to market, when to uh, put it in the market, or when to start our introduction of our product, and so on and so forth. So schedules. Then we have this financial data and control. So financial data, of course, capital is very important, financial is very important. Then where to get our capital, where to get our financing of our activity, and what our control. Okay, so next is production plan. No, so next is the production plan. It is production plan is the amount of capacity the company must have. No, So try to determine what is the capability of our company. Do we have this do we have this capability? Do we have these materials? Do we have this equipment? Do we have this amount that so that our activity can be implemented uh, very well? Okay, so on and so forth. How many employees are required? Okay, so this is human resource planning, no? How much material must be purchased? Okay, how much or how many or the quantity of the logistics that you're going to purchase to attend our production plan. Okay, next is we have the financial plan. As 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 we said, uh, we cannot perform, we cannot do without financing or money matters. So we have to think of where to get what where our financing institution or so on and so forth. No, so this is an analysis of the firm's current financial condition. So try to evaluate your financial condition if you have savings, if you have all these things. Of course, if we might be lacking of financial support, then what you are going to do, no? So of course, we have maybe strategies, no? Loan, borrow, finances, and so on and so forth. Okay, so analysis of these financial situations. Then we have this sales forecast for the financial plan. Okay, because of course to bring our product in the market, then of course, okay, we have to think of okay, so what do you think? Is it viable? Okay, do we have clients? Do we have what we call this one, customers to buy our products? Okay, so try to forecast our sales. Okay, then the capital budget, I mentioned this a while ago, cash budget, and then we call this one as a set of pro forma, or we call this one as projected financial statements. Okay, next is human resource management planning or plan. So this is the next thing that you're going to do. As we said a while ago, this is resources planning. So one of the the resources that you are going to plan is human resources, personnel requirement of the company. How many people, how many staff, how many secretary, how many technical people that you're going to hire to implement. So how many supervisors, how many managers that we need to to choose so that they will be able to supervise the activity, no? So then you have to plan for recruitment and selection. Okay, so recruit and select out of these applicants. Then if you will be able to hire these human resources, then try to think of training. Okay, you're going to train them so that they will not become floating in the organization. So train them for what you are going to do. Okay, so think also of the retirement plan later. Okay, so that the operation of the flow of the operation might not be disturbed, then try to think of programming our human resources. Okay, so maybe next year we have out of this number of our employee, we have three will retire. So think of hiring in advance, no? So think about this program, the retirement of our employees, so that no vacuums of the job or activities of the flow of operations. Okay, so plans with the another type of plan is plan with you the time horizon. Okay, so it might be a short range plan. Okay, so short range plan which can be or activity which can be done within a short period of time. So we call this one as a short range plan. or a long range plan for the intermediate or the strategic planning, 10 years, 5 years. Okay, so that is what we call as long range plan. And then we have another plans according to frequency of use. Okay, so if, for example, if the plan is for single use only, then so that is another type of plans. Okay, so we have this what we call a standing plan. Okay, which we say when we say standing plan, we have policies. Okay, or procedures. What is the difference between these policies and procedures? These policies is a broad guidelines to aid managers of implementing the planned activities. Okay, so it depends upon the level of management, no? So and about recurring situations of the functions. When we see procedures, this is just a description of the exact series of actions. So step by step procedural method. So what is the procedure, the step by step implementation of this plan? Then this is what we call as procedures. Then we have also these rules, statements that either require or forbid a certain action. Okay? So do this, do not do this, do's and don'ts of the implementation of the activity. This is what we call as rules. Rules, policies, and guidelines. Okay, so we have another horizon. Okay, time horizon of the plan. We have this single-use plan. I mentioned this a while ago. Okay, so like for example, budget. So supposedly, budget of the company every year or the budget of our country every year, it should be yearly. No, that is why our lower house are doing this budget planning every year because we cannot implement the same budget, the same amount of budget next year. No, there might be a difference, and accordingly, the budget for this year will be maybe 10%. There is a 10% increase for our whatever budget today or this year for the next years. So that is why budget is an example of a single use plan. Okay, because as I've said, this will be for the next for this within this year only. Next year, different budget also budget plan. Okay, so like for example, also a program activities. Okay, so this is also a single use plan, no? Because after implementing this activity, this program, so it will uh, it will just vanish. It will not just vanish, no? So maybe the same program might be, or the program today, or this program might be reused, but of course there should be some modification or renovations. Okay, and also projects, no, a single-use plan that is usually more limited in scope than a program and is sometimes prepared for to support a program. Projects, okay, that sometimes we have copy paste project, but of course you have to change it, we have to revise it so that just to fit and to uh, to fit the situation, no, the present situation. So that is why we have to change the um, uh, project maybe. Okay, so making planning effective. How to do, or what is what we are going to do to make planning more effective? Okay, so first thing that you're going to do is recognize the planning barriers. So what are the possible barriers in planning so that we will be able to prepare to counter these barriers. Okay. So example of barriers in planning, managers' inability to plan. So, okay, so whether we like it or not, um, there might some managers that has this what we call as incapacitative or do planning. Okay, so anyway, So we cannot do about it, no? So try to identify the ability of the managers to plan. Okay. Then we have this what we call as improper planning process. A while ago we discussed planning process. Okay. First, we have to define the mission, vision, objectives of the activity or the organization. Of course, these are the first thing that you're going to do, and the rest of the process of planning. So there might be some improper planning process. There might be some lapses. There might be some gaps or problems later on that we might be encountering. So try to think of this kind of barrier. Lack of commitment to the planning process. Okay? So this might be a problem, especially for the participants that will do this planning. So lack of commitment that maybe some of them are only good in planning, but for the implementation, there might be some problem. Or some of them are just talking, and the of course lack of ideas, no. So commitment to do this planning. Then we have this improper information. So doing planning with an erroneous, improper, lack of data or any other information to be used in planning. Like for example, we are thinking of human resource planning. Of course, try to determine how many employees that we have presently. Okay, so we have maybe lack of information. We'll just estimate. Okay, this time we have 200 employees, but so on and so forth. Now, without this exact number of employees, it might affect to the planning process or the implementation of these plan activities. No, so focusing on the present at the expense of the future, thinking of today, thinking of the present time. Okay, so as we mentioned a while ago, that planning is for the future trends, as it is the definition of planning. So do not rely only to the present situation. So we have this forecasting for the future trends. So do not, of course, we are going to do the or to use this present data or the previous historical data, for example. But of course, do not focus on the expense of this present, but of course for the future, because this is what we call as planning. Okay, too much reliance on the planning department. Okay, of course, this is the responsibility of the planning department, or for example, in our university we have this planning UPDO, no, University Planning Development Office. They are responsible of planning projects, for example, uh, activity, for example, for the good of the university. But of course, we will not rely this department only or this office only, but all of us must think of strategies to develop and to improve the performance of our organization. So do not rely on the planning department only. Concentrating on only the controllable variables. Okay, thinking of the controllable variables, not also considering the uncontrollable variables. So what are some of these uncontrollable variables? This is what we mentioned a while ago about external influences, no? Beyond the commerce of man, beyond the capacity of the company. So those are some of the uncontrollable variables. Okay, so we have some aids to planning. So these are some of these suggested, no, things that you are going to do. Gather as much information as possible. Okay, so use different channels, use some different sources of information, so that we will be able to confirm, so that we will be able to compare, or so that we will be able to prove that this is the actual, no, actual data, actual informations. Okay. Next is develop multiple sources of information. Okay, so as we said, no? So try to develop different channels, different resources, sources of informations. Okay, so another thing also is try to involve others in planning process. According to them, two heads is better than one. Okay, so try to involve even your subordinates in planning because they might have good ideas that you never think of it, or of course they might have good suggestions, good strategy, good tactics that can be presented. So try to involve others, no? So when we say involving others, so involving those people that belongs to the top management, do intermediate planning. Those people that belongs to the middle management level do this intermediate planning. Okay, the top management is strategic. The middle management is intermediate. Okay, so try to involve even in the lower level of management. Okay, operational planning. Try to involve also your subordinates, even though they are just laborers, but maybe because they experience the operations, they might have an idea and might can think of procedures, strategies, tactics also, so that to have a good procedural way of implementing our planned activities. Okay, but that ends our discussion for this planning technical activities. So again, I should have to say this that planning is doing things sequential procedures and activities and for the future trends and so that we'll be able to think of the strategies, how, when, where, and how to do this, and when to start, when to, what is the target date, and so on and so forth. So we should have, otherwise, we should have to plan. Otherwise, there might be some lapses or there might be something that we will forget. It might cause failures or failure or poor performances of our activity. So thank you very much. So that is chapter 3, planning technical activities. Thank you. God bless and see you in next video.